Hi guys, I'm Tina Tomato. I'm 28 years old and I started mewing back in February this year. So in total, I've been mewing for 4 months. Meow. No, mewing, not meowing. Meow. Okay. So in this video, I'll be sharing my 4 months result as well as the before and after footage so that you guys can see the differences or the lack of differences. And after that, I'll be answering a few frequently asked questions that I got from my previous video. If you're new to mewing, it is basically a way to naturally improve your facial structure by adopting a better neck and tongue posture. So if you want to know more about it, then I recommend you watch my first video where I talk about the ins and outs of mewing. Okay, not to brag or anything, but some people have said that it's the best mewing video on the internet. Okay, so before I get into the details of the physical changes, I just want to mention that I have had Invisalign 4 years ago, and after my treatment, I've had lingual wire attached to both my top and bottom teeth. Until recently, around 2-3 months ago, I got the top lingual wire taken out because the lingual wire itself broke. And my dentist suggested me to just keep wearing the retainer. However, I felt like because I was mewing, my teeth were trying to shift forward, and every night when I wear the retainer is pushing it back. So my teeth is constantly doing this forward and backward motion, and it just didn't seem like a good idea. So I stopped wearing retainer altogether on my top teeth, and on my bottom teeth I still had the lingual wire. So that's one more change I've made since the first video, which is So the first difference that I observed is that I feel like I have more definition around the jawline. I mean, here there's still not much definition, but I've never seen this bone in the past, but now there's like a very prominent shadow that's being casted by the end of my jawbone. Now, is there a reduction in my double chin? I'm not too sure about that. I feel like there is, but if I really do tuck it in, it's still there. Yeah, so you can be the judge of that. Did my mid-face shift forward? I feel like it didn't really, at least it's not very obvious. And because I removed the lingual wire and the retainer, my teeth have definitely shifted forward. So before I removed the lingual wire and the retainer, I was worried that my teeth will go back to its previous overbite position. But I'm happy to report that after 2-3 months, my teeth are still straight. There's no overjet. But I have felt the entire front teeth have moved forward a little bit. And actually in the past, when I was wearing retainer, I always felt like one half of my teeth were shifted back because you know the retainer is man-made, it's not perfectly spherical. But since I removed it and started mewing, I can now feel that when I run my tongue across my teeth, I can feel that the teeth are pretty equidistant on both sides. So I feel like there is that improved symmetry for my teeth. And lastly, did my chin shift forward? I feel like this is a no. Okay, and next, this may be my imagination. It's not really something you can tell on camera because I am wearing makeup. But I feel like one of the benefits of mewing is that if your maxilla shifts forward, then it naturally supports your skin. And one concern that I've always had is I have these eye bags. And I feel like this can be improved by mewing, because if your bones shift forward, then it just naturally supports that skin. It's like a natural filler, except you don't need to inject anything. The skin is just supported by your bones. My hypothesis is that if it does shift forward enough, I can potentially get rid of my dark circles. Fingers crossed. And lastly is something I'm really happy to talk about, which is since I started mewing, it has really improved my TMJ. I don't really know what it stands for, but it's basically the misalignment in your jaw. And I got my TMJ when I did my Invisalign treatment. After I finished my treatment, I could feel that every time I opened my mouth really wide, my jaw would pop. But now, after 4 months, I think my TMJ has really improved a lot. When I open my mouth wide, there is no pop, there is no like shift in my face. There's still a little bit, but it's improved so much. So now let's get into the questions. And the first question is, how long should I mew for? So the short answer is you should always be mewing. The way to think about it is that mewing is a set of correct postures that you should adopt in your life. So why should you ever do anything that's not the right way? Your tongue should naturally rest on the palate, and you should always be standing up straight. Your neck should always be in alignment with your spine. But I understand that we tend to go back to our easy position whenever we're looking at our phones or whenever we're on the computer. But one thing that I started doing is to create a trigger for myself. But the trigger I like to use is whenever I find my mind drifting off, or when I catch myself thinking a negative thought, then that would be my trigger to, stand up straight, check my neck and tongue posture. Once you do it enough, it becomes very natural, so you don't really have to think about it. Yeah, so do it as much as possible, make it a part of your daily habit. I think the good news is that if you feel like you can't breathe, then you're really doing a good job at lifting your tongue. So you do have that strength in your tongue. And what's happening, actually, I'll link a video down below of a doctor talking about tongue space. And essentially what's happening is that because you're not used to having your tongue up there, you don't have enough tongue space. And therefore, when you lift up your tongue, you're blocking your airway. So the solution to that is, it's just going to take longer for you to get there. So what I'm doing is I lift my tongue as far back as I can without suffocating myself. That's the best I can do. I'm not going to kill myself just to do this mewing thing. But the good news is that over time, if you're doing it correctly, then your palate is going to expand, your tongue space is going to expand, and you can lift your tongue further and further, and eventually you can do it properly without having trouble breathing. I'll link some resources down below on this topic as well. How do I know if I'm mewing correctly? So this I actually found from the comment section. A lot of people have been really helpful in providing their experiences. When you say the word king, your tongue is in the correct mewing position. So just try to say king, and then feel where your tongue is at. That's the position you should keep it at all the time. So no one explicitly asked this question, but I've gotten a few comments that have expressed this kind of concern. And I know that a lot of people that watch mewing videos are younger guys. So I want to share my experience. I am 28, I'm a woman, and I've had the luxury of basically observing people my age and knowing about their past. And here's my 2 cents. No one is going to date you or not date you because of how long your chin is, or whether you're taller by 1 centimeter or 2 centimeters. I know everyone has their insecurities. I definitely have mine. I've had acne all my life, and I've had a really dark birthmark in the front and center of my face that I've since removed. And I can honestly say it doesn't really matter when I have perfect skin or when I have my birthmark removed, or if in the future my chin grows by 1 centimeter. I feel like these external qualities really does not make me feel better about myself. Maybe temporarily, maybe in the first few days I feel like, oh, I'm so happy I have better skin, or I don't have a birthmark anymore. But in the long run, it doesn't change who you are. It didn't change who I am. It didn't change the way that I interacted with other people. It didn't raise my self-confidence or my self-esteem, because deep down I was still the same person. If I didn't love myself then, it doesn't really matter what kind of external changes I make. However, there are things that you can do that's going to have a long-term impact on the way that you see yourself and the way that you interact with other people. And I think those things are, number 1, develop a skill set, develop a useful skill set, find things that you love to do, and at the same time helps other people. All the confidence and fulfillment that I have felt throughout my life is based on those things. Okay, so this is totally not related to mewing, but I feel like it's also related, because the very reason that we're doing this is because we want to improve ourselves, we want to optimize who we are. And mewing is a way to do that. You know, even if you don't see the improvement in your appearance, at least mewing is going to help you breathe better. It's going to give you a better posture. It's just overall good for your health. But at the same time, let's not obsess over these physical changes. I mean, you might never see any physical changes. I might never get a longer chin, and that's okay. Because at the end of the day, what matters when you're interacting with other people and how you see yourself is really not based on anything related to looks. Alright, I've talked enough. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you vibe with this kind of content, then consider subscribing to my channel, and I'll see you very soon.